Hey guys, this is the expressions Desmos. Okay, so it says to match the order of operation problem to the yellow answer card, and each yellow card will have 3 problems that match it. So each stack will have 4 cards, and then the following slide will check your answers so you can see if your stacks are correct. So if you go ahead and head on over to the next slide, you can see that we have 9 problems total, and then we have 3 cards to match. The answers are either 10, 3, or -7. Now, when you get an order of operation problem on any standardized test, you will not typically get to use a calculator. For this practice, we are going to use the calculator because we're moving on to solving expressions, and we need to know how to type in our problems into the calculator if we get one. Okay, so normally order of operations, you don't get a calculator. For this Desmos purpose, we're really just practicing utilizing the calculator so you know how to use it if you do get one. So all we're going to do is we're going to type in each one of these expressions into the Desmos calculator. If you click on the top of your screen, that tiny little baby calculator, one will pop up on your screen so that you don't have to worry about a Desmos calculator in a tab. We're just going to type in the expressions exactly like you see on the problem and then figure out whether the answer is 10, 3, or -7. Okay, so I'm going to type these out. This first one is 11 minus 16 over 2, which equals 3. So our answer is 3. Make sure you know how to type this in, how to plug it into the calculator. To get this fraction, you have a few options. What I did was I typed 16 slash, okay, so like the question mark button on your calculator. I mean, on your keyboard, the slash, 16 slash 2. And when you hit that slash, it'll turn into a fraction. Another way you can type in a fraction is you can click this A over B button and then fill in your numerator and your denominator. Another way you can type in a fraction is a symbol of division. So you could also type in 16, click divided by 2. Okay, so that's one calculator skill, how to type in the fraction into Desmos. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this one. This one's pretty simple. 7 squared minus 5, that dot is multiplication. You can either hit Shift 8, the star, or you can click on the times button. 8 plus 1. All right, the only other tricky part for this problem is that exponent. If the exponent is 2, you can click on this a squared button. If the exponent is 3, you can click on this a to the b power and then fill in your exponent. So let me show you that. Okay, you can type in 7a squared like that to get the exponent, or you could do 7 and then hit this button. The cursor will pop up so that you can type in your own exponent. You can also type in 7, the caret sign, so it's Shift 6, so that the cursor goes up, then 2. Okay, let me write that out for you. So another way you can type that using your calculator skills. Oh, actually, I can't type. Here we go. You can type this is 7, this button, which is Shift 6, and then your exponent. That will also create 7 squared. Okay, so that one equals 10, so you're going to drag that over to 10. Okay, next. When you have a very large fraction like this, okay, you can use the fraction, the A over B button, and then type in everything on the top the way you see it. And then move your cursor down and then type everything on the bottom. That's one way. You can also type everything on top. Highlight the entire numerator and then hit slash on your keyboard and it'll make a large fraction for you so that you can type in your denominator. That's one way. You can highlight the entire top just like we did right here. Highlight and then click divide, and that'll also create that large fraction for you. So this one is 10. Even though we're getting these answers, again, the main purpose of the slide is being able to type in these questions into your calculator. All right, so let's do this one right here. 2, and then in parentheses, we have a fraction. So I'm going to use 2 parentheses, A over B button, and then we can just fill in our numerator and our denominator. There we go. equals 10. Or you could do 2 in parentheses 35, highlight the 35, and then divide it by, whoops, maybe you can't, 35, let's see, highlight 35, divide by, there we go, and then type in your denominator. Okay, this is a pretty long one. 18 minus, parentheses, 5 squared, minus 1. The main thing to check is to make sure that your question looks exactly like the question that is given. What you type into the Desmos has to look exactly like it, or it's going to give you a different answer. I like doing the method where I type in the numerator and then I highlight, then hit slash to get to my denominator, but you can click that A over B button, whatever method works for you. This one equals 3. I like doing the 24 slash and then put in my denominator. Okay, so for this one, make sure you don't just hit minus 9. That minus 9 is outside of the fraction. So click off to the side here, minus 9. That one is our first one that equals -7. That one's pretty straightforward. I'm going to let y'all do that. I'll do this complicated one over here. If you want to click the AB button, this is what that one looks like. 39 minus 4 squared plus 9. 2 in parentheses 2 squared minus 5. Okay, so this one equals -7. All right, I'm going to save this too for you to do. Again, I know that you can see the answers here, but that's not the point of this, and you don't want to waste your time. You want this to at least give you some skills, so make sure you can type all of these things into the Desmos calculator. Okay, so remember, this is the exponent button if this is squared, or you can use the a to the b powered and then fill in your own exponent. And then this is the fraction, the large fraction, and you want your question to look exactly like what you type in to Desmos. And now that I'm looking here, it actually does not, I must have taken that slide out. We don't have a check slide, so make sure you do this well, because there's no check slide. All right, the next slide, we are translating. So translating is putting the same thing in a different way, right? So if we're translating from language to language, is what you're used to, we can also translate from words to numbers and symbols. So we're going to translate these problems into symbols. There are keywords that we're looking for. More than, that's going to be something is being added. Less than, something's being subtracted from. Quotient is division. Product is multiplication. Decrease is subtraction. Increase is addition. So we should be pretty familiar with those keywords at this point. So let's take a look. Oh, and if something equals or if it is, then it's going to be an equal to sign. 6 more than 3 times a number. All right, the little tricky part about more than, less than is if you see more than or less than, you're going to flip the order. So we're not going to start with 6 plus something, because more than is increasing. We know that's increasing. This 6 more than a number is going to be something plus 6. So anytime you see more than, less than, flip your order of those words. Something plus 6. 3 times a number. 3 times a number plus 6. Okay, if it doesn't tell us what the number is, that's when you're going to see a variable. Okay, so that's 3 and plus 6. So you're just going to type that in here, 3 and plus 6. 3 less than, same thing. You're not going to do 3 minus. It's something minus 3. The product, that's a multiplication of 6 and a number. So 6 times a number, and then 3 less than that. The quotient, that's division. We see division using a fraction now. The quotient of a number and 6, so a number and 6, the quotient of, that's division, is 3. Something equals 3 because it is 3. I'm going to go over on this side now. 10 minus, the product is multiplication of 6 and a number. It is 3. It equals 3. 1/3 a number is 6. So 1/3 of a number is 6. 1/3 of a number decreased by 6. Decreased by 6. So when we're translating, you want the words in your sentence to match the words in your expression or equation. Okay. Our next slide. Okay, now this is the part that we really want to practice here. We are evaluating expressions now. We're solving expressions when given a value for those variables. Now, if I never told you what these variables equal, if I never said a equals -3, b equals 4, and c equals 5, Desmos will not solve the problem for you because those variables could be any number in the world. So if we're talking about this first problem right here, 2ab, look what happens. Desmos says, I can't solve this. It gives you that little warning sign because it doesn't know what a is. Is a 1? Is it 10? Is it 6.5? Is it -32? It could be any number in the world, right? So to solve these expressions, you're going to type the expression in exactly in the calculator with the variables and everything. And then you're going to tell the calculator what your variables are. A is -3. Hit enter. We also need B. B is 4. And then once you tell Desmos what your variables are, it'll solve it for you. So the answer to this first problem, 2ab, is -24. I'm going to put that in the exact same spot on this chart with the answers. Right here, -24. And then if it's correct, a part of this picture will show up. So you're just typing in these problems exactly the way you see them into Desmos, and then telling Desmos these 3 variables. In fact, what you can do, since all of these questions are using the same 3 variables, you can go ahead and say A is -3, B is 4, and C is 5. Go ahead and prep those, and then just type out your problems for each one. Your problem in Desmos has to look exactly like the problem that is given. If it's a little bit off, the answer will likely change. It will likely not be the same. So if your parentheses are in the same spot, if you don't have a fraction and you just have the 2 numbers right next to each other, if you forgot a subtraction, if you forget any part or change any part of that problem so that it's not exactly the same, then it's going to solve it differently. Okay, so that's probably the main problem when evaluating these expressions using Desmos that I see. People share their calculator and I say, your problem does not match what it's asking. It's got to look exactly the same. Okay, so you're going to put the answers into this table down below in the exact same spot. So like this problem will be in this box. This next problem answer will go into this box. All right, so that's how we do this slide. All right, and this is slide 5 is the last slide where you're actually solving problems. You're solving 5 problems. Once you finish, you're going to hit that submit button, and then you can go over to slide 6, and slide 6 will check your work. So if I solved this first problem and I thought the answer was 22, okay, you can go on to the next problem, and you can see here my answer was 22, and I got it wrong. So if you miss a problem, then go back and try to fix it, okay, and try it again, and then go check your answers on slide 6. You can still use a calculator for this. I'm going to zoom in on a few of these. Oh, actually, I'm not going to zoom in. I'm just going to tell you because it doesn't look like it's letting me zoom in. This right here is a z. Okay, that's kind of hard to see, but this says z equals -4. This is minus yz. And you're going to do exactly like the other slide, only this time every single problem has its own values for the variables. So for this problem number 1, what you're going to type in is the question into Desmos, like this. 2 times, I think I mentioned this. Times, remember, is Shift 8, the little star on your keyboard, or you can hit the multiplication sign on the keyboard. Okay, so you're going to put in your problem. It's not going to be able to solve it until you say y equals 2, x equals 3, and z equals -4. I'm going to let you do that. I'm not going to tell you the answer. Okay, so that's how you're going to set up your calculator. Type in your question and make sure you fill in all your variables so that Desmos can do all the hard work for you and solve it. So you got 5 problems there. All right, I hope that helps.